Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. Today we're going through 1 Kings chapter 7 and 2 Chronicles chapter 4. Now tomorrow we're going to do 1 Kings chapter 8 and 2 Chronicles chapter 5. So that'll give you a head start for that. We'll jump in. Chapter 7 starts with Solomon's palace complex. So he starts building his palace complex. This is essentially his house. And it took 13 years for the construction of his house to get completed. We get to verse 13, and King Solomon had Hiram brought from Tyre. We've heard about King Hiram of Tyre before, and we know that he is the builder guy. He is the bronze worker guy. He is the king. He was a widow's son from the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre, a bronze craftsman. And of course, he must have gained some of those skills from his father. But he had great skill, understanding, and knowledge to do every kind of bronze work that there was. So he came to King Solomon, and he carried out all of the work that King Solomon had for him. Now, he started out with those bronze pillars. Remember, we talked about those bronze pillars yesterday from 2 Chronicles chapter 3, Jacob and Boaz. Then he starts working on a big old water basin. Now, this is not just some little bitty basin. If you'll look at that picture right there on your screen, you'll notice that basin at the bottom that has those oxen holding it up. There's actually 12 oxen holding up that thing, but that thing is so big it held 11,000 gallons of water. That's right, 11,000 gallons. That's enormous. Then Hiram built some bronze water carts for him. He built bronze basins. Of course, those are 10 of those water carts over there, and you'll see some of those in the picture. 10 bronze basins. Each of those little basins that were carried around by those carts were 220 gallons each. Then he completed several of the other bronze works that were he was hired by Solomon to do. 2 pillars, of course, that we talked about, the bowls, 2 gratings, 400 pomegranates for the 2 gratings, the water carts, the 10 basins, the big basin, the 12 oxen underneath the basin, the pot shovels, sprinkling basins. And he did all of this with burnished bronze. Then Solomon left all of the utensils unweighed because there were so many. The weight of the bronze was not determined. Now, why do you think that is? Now, I kind of tend to think that since bronze was such a valuable thing, it was kind of a valuable commodity in his day. It's, to me, an indication of Solomon's wealth. He was so wealthy, in my opinion, that he didn't even have to keep track of how much bronze he used. He's like, yeah, just keep using it. We got plenty. Just go on with it. So he was a rich dude. He had plenty of wealth. And then he went on to complete the rest of the gold furnishings at the end of chapter 7. And then we'll move on to 2 Chronicles chapter 4. This is rehashing a lot of what we just read. The altar, the reservoir, the basins. Remember that big old basin we talked about? It talks about it right here in chapter 4 at the beginning. The one that held 11,000 gallons of water. 11,000 gallons of water. That's a ton. That's tons and tons of water. Then, of course, he talks about the lampstands, the tables, and the courts that Solomon had made out of gold. The gold lampstands, there were 10 of them. He put 5 on each side of the sanctuary. There were 10 tables that went 5 on each side of the sanctuary as well inside. 100 gold bowls that were made. And the courtyard, the large court, and the doors for the court were all made. And then he completed all the bronze furnishings and completed all of the golden furnishings. Now, the various fixtures that Solomon installed in the temple complex were outside of the building in the courtyard. The most dominant of those was that bronze altar. If you'll see it on the right side of your screen there, if you think about that basin holding 11,000 gallons of water, you can imagine how big that big bronze altar is. 30 feet long by 30 feet wide by 15 feet high. It was so big, in fact, it had a number of steps that the priest had to climb to be able to perform the sacrifices there on that altar. And that's all I have for you today. I hope this has touched you. If it has, click the like button and the subscribe button, and of course click the little jingle bell so you can get notified the next time I upload a video, which will be tomorrow for another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. We'll see you then.